Hey people, so we are here again with my buddy Melissa Gilbert.
Hello.
Yay, we. And we're collaborating for her brand new great platform, Modern Prairie.
Yep.
And we are doing a fun project called Prairie Meals Made Ma-dern. And we've been working from the Little House on the Prairie cookbook. And we're gonna make today what they would have called back in Laura's day pie paste. But we think that's weird sounding.
It's unfortunate.
Because who wants to eat paste?
No, well,
Unless
I
you're
do know some
kindergarten.
people who are paste eaters, but we don't have.
We don't talk about them. Yeah. So we're gonna make some pie dough or some pie pastry. So we were talking about the importance of measuring correctly.
Yes.
So because when you're using flour, you have two ways of measuring. You can put it on a scale or you can use your measuring cups. Now, if you're a serious baker, you use a scale.
Yep.
Always, because it's more accurate. But I think a lot of home cooks don't have scales and they have to use measuring cups. So if you are going to measure out flour with measuring cups, what you actually really need to do is get it out of the bag first.
Yeah, because it's different.
It
Depending on how condensed
it gets
is.
compressed,
Exactly.
right? And you want to measure your flour in an aerated state. So what I always tell people is get in there and fluff up your flour. Get the air back into
Flour
it.
fluffer.
Flour fluffer. It's a different kind of fluffer.
Yeah, I know, it's a totally different.
Yeah.
It's a much more innocent and adorable
Yes,
kind of
family-friendly fluffer.
Family-friendly fluffing.
See, you're on Funny People Make Food. This is fun. Yeah.
Thanks.
Um,
F's are funny though.
and then it's true. Also, the word balls never is not funny.
Balls is the best. Balls
always
is
the
funny
funniest word.
Yeah.
So what I always say, people fluff up the flour and then take a smaller spoon or something and waft like that.
Fluffing and
Waft.
wafting.
And get it piled up like that so that you have a lot of air in it and then level off. This is gonna give you the most accurate cup of flour. But if you're, like I said, a serious baker, you use a scale. But look for recipes that are expressed, that are written
In grams or
ounces. Don't try to just be like, oh, it's a cup, I know what that weighs, because every cup of flour is gonna weigh a different amount, and the person who wrote that recipe formulated it for weight.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get our flour into our bowl. Yeah, there's one.
1 cup. Wafting.
She's
and
wafting, and you're doing a great job.
I'm a champion wafter. I have a medal in wafting.
Oh,
actually.
well, you know, all those years living in that little house in Walnut Grove, you know?
We wafted
A lot of
often.
wafting.
We didn't often waft.
a lot of baking.
Often wafting. Wafting. Easy for me to say.
There you go. Yeah, and then you can level off. There you go. So there's 2.
There's 2.
And then we'll do our 1 and
And
or a half.
half.
Yeah. And of course we'll edit a lot of this because you know.
Oh, why? But it's so thrilling. This part especially.
For 2.5 cups of flour, we're gonna add a little sugar and salt, a tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt. Mix
Oh,
that
it's
up.
in with the
dries. Now let's add our butter. So this is 2 sticks of butter and you
Cubed.
want cubed, and it
Cubed
should be
by
very
me.
cold.
It is
Cubed
cold,
by
and I
Ms.
cube it.
Melissa.
And we're putting both in?
Both of them in.
Okay.
So when you make pie pastry dough, your butter needs to be really,
Really
really
cold.
cold. In there, toss it to coat it with the flour, and then you just get in and you start squishing the butter. Oh, it's warm in here. This butter's already getting soft, right? And just squish and then pick it back up and squish. You want to make little flakes of butter.
That's a lot
because
of fun.
the flakier your butter is in shapes, the flakier your pie dough will be. Because your flake-shaped pieces of butter, when they're rolled in that dough, when they hit the heat of the oven, they melt, and then you have a flake-shaped air pocket.
It's science.
It's science. Science is real.
It's science. That's the thing I love about cooking is it's science and art.
Yes, it's magic too.
It is, and there's magic and love.
And love. So
You
much
have to have, there's so much love in
So much
food.
love.
It's insane.
Okay, so this looks great. You have sort of a range of pieces of butter, and that's what you want. I always say you want your pieces of butter to range sort of from like peas to olives.
Oh, I love that.
And that's good. You have peas and olives, just like that. And you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Good work. And that's a 1/2 cup of very cold water.
Very cold water.
And that's gonna help to keep the butter nice and cold. And then again, get in there, toss the water in, and then just really gently start squeezing. So once water hits flour, that's when you get gluten development. And what we want in a pie dough is very little gluten, because gluten would make it chewy and springy, and we don't want that. We
And
want it
bready.
flaky and tender. Right. So water is what activates gluten, so you want to handle it very little. But here's the cool thing, fat inhibits gluten from forming. So that's why pie doughs have so much fat in them. Okay, that's
Makes
beautiful.
sense.
You are done. That's it. So you want to leave it kind of shaggy like this. And in baking, this is called shaggy mass.
Shaggy mass.
Isn't that a great term?
That is.
I want to start a band called the
Shaggy
Shaggy Mass.
Mass.
Do you want to be in my band?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good.
I can play the dough.
The dough. You play the butter churn.
I'll play the butter churn.
Okay, now watch this little magic trick. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can use a sheet of plastic wrap or a parchment. We're going to use this as a tool
Oh, come on.
for folding over. And this is going to bring our dough together, but it's also going to create layers. So it's like a laminated dough, like when you make like croissant dough or something
Yes.
like that.
This
Go
is
ahead.
heaven.
Yeah, it's all pulled together, but you can actually see butter in it.
This is
Streaks
the
of butter.
easiest version of pie dough I've ever.
Yeah,
done.
and-
Please put silicone mat on my shopping list.
Done. It's in the cart. Alexa, add it to the cart. Now we're gonna pat these out because we're gonna be rolling these. Let's say we were making a big pie. I know. See,
Isn't
and
that
it's all
gorgeous?
layered. It's like laminated dough.
Oh.
You rocked it. So if we were gonna make a big pie, right, where we did 2 big circles, now before we chill this, pat it out into discs, and then we'll chill it because this will make your rolling later
A
a lot easier, instead
yeah.
of dealing with this big hard chunk.
Yeah,
right?
That gets to be really
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah,
Oh my
so you
gosh,
just
I
do
can
that.
See all this butter.
Look at
is
the
just-
marble and
it's
it's beautiful
gorgeous.
butter. Now we're gonna wrap this in plastic. We're gonna chill it. We're gonna give it at least 40 minutes, an hour. You know, you can also freeze it.
Okay.
And then once it's nice and chilled, the butter hardens back up, and that's really important because when this hits the oven, your butter needs to be cold, cold, cold. Because if your butter's not cold when you hit the oven, what's going to happen is your butter is going to melt and seep fat into the dough and give you kind of oily, crumbly dough. But if the butter's really cold, then the butter holds its shape as it hits that hot heat, and then the water in the butter goes and makes steam, and you get those flaky pockets.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
a flaky pocket.
Flaky pockets.
It's the only thing I like that's flaky.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this in plastic, we're gonna chill it, and then when we come back next time, we're gonna make little mini hand pies to take in our lunch pail to school in Walnut Grove. And we'll bring one for Miss Beadle too.
Yes, because we love her.
We love her.